The only way I can climax with my husband is when I'm thinking of you. This was the quote in a post on the page Post Secret. This was a site back in the early 2000s. Now it's also gotten Facebook and Instagram accounts with a lot of people that appreciate the content. I'm one of those people. I used to love the site and now I love their content. This post got a lot of reactions, including from me, and I want to bring it up because I think a lot of us relate to this particular life situation. There are many people out there who have sex with their spouses, but they think of others. Now, what's your take on this? Want to talk about it? Hi, this is Liana, Holistic Intimacy Coach. Welcome back to my channel. Here, I help you get your orgasmic intimacy. Sometimes orgasmic intimacy doesn't look like what you think. This is one of those moments. So let's talk about this. First of all, I'm going to put the post on screen and I'm going to read to you my comment, and then I'm going to put some reactions that I got to my comments, and hopefully I can share some of the reactions that I've seen online. So on with the post. The only way I can climax with my husband is when I'm thinking of you. And my comment was, this hurts to read. For myself, I've learned a long time ago I'm better off on my own, doing body-related and sexuality practices, than in a relationship where I'd have to think of another to feel alive. That's what orgasm essentially is, vitality. It's not easy to be a bachelorette, but neither is what she's living. Honestly, I hope she finds a way to have a better intimate life. Now, on Facebook, I got a few reactions to what I shared, and a few of those I put them also on my other accounts. I'm going to bring them up here as well. So the first one was, but you're an intimacy coach? And my reaction was, yes. And I tell people to stay authentic or true to themselves. Whoever said an intimacy coach, or anyone else for that matter, should sleep around if they don't actually want the person. Just because. This is one discussion that I had with my breathwork coach, or professor, teacher. She told me that a lot of people expect an intimacy coach to have sex, to which my reaction was, sure, I also expect to have sex with the people that I have mutual attraction with. If it's one-sided, and most times this is what I've experienced in my life, I don't want to have it. And neither could I blame somebody that I had the hots for, but they didn't feel it for me. As a consequence, they didn't engage with me. And I don't judge them for it. You know, I wouldn't make somebody that doesn't like me to have sex with me, no more than I would make myself have sex with somebody that I don't like because I'm an intimacy coach and I should have sex. Stupid mentality. Like, sure, you want to have sex, obviously. But if it's not mutual, dude, I'm better off on my own. I got my own toys. I'll go home. I got practices. I create a lot of practices. This is the fundamental thing here. It's supposed to be mutual and you're supposed to enjoy it. Again, fundamental for me. This woman with the post, we assume it's a woman because the image shown there is that of a woman. So this woman there doesn't have that fundamental approach. Like, she engages with somebody, she's married to somebody, but in sex, she actually has to think of another in order to orgasm. If you can't orgasm with a person, I mean, if you think of somebody else when you're so intimate with another, dude. So again, our definitions are really, really important here. And I always encourage people when they come to seek me for coaching to stay true to themselves. If I don't do that with me, how could I really hold space for others? Like, I'd be a fake. So, you know, to the cost of people getting reactions like this one, but you're an intimacy coach. What are you here telling us you don't have intimacy? Well, you know, if you equate intimacy just with sex and just with sex with others, then that's a very narrow definition. That's one. Two, you're probably gonna get, with that kind of mindset, you're gonna get to situations as the woman in the post. Now let's move on to other reactions. Somebody else said, a guy here, I think, I have this feeling by quote unquote being single, you mean you sleep around. That's what nearly every woman or attractive man I've met who is single, in quotation marks, means. So my reaction to this person, not sure if it's a guy, my assumption is that it's a guy, was this: that's your feeling and your stuff. You don't know me. If others are happy sleeping around, I wish them well. If the woman in this post is happy fantasizing about others while sleeping with her spouse, man, woman, whatever, that's her business. To me, that scenario wouldn't be acceptable. Also, in sexuality, that's the very foundation for trauma. Meaning, someone is intimate with a person, but in actuality, they don't want them. The very definition of sexual trauma. There's a lot of that going on, and sadly, it's normalized, as you have read in the comments. Sadly, again, when someone is trained to see this whole dynamic, doesn't live by it, because nowadays we have accessories and sexuality and somatic practices, but all that requires some discipline and support from friends or close circle, they get judgments or projections. This is where we are nowadays. Anyway, to me, this scenario wouldn't be acceptable, but I'm 41. No idea what this woman's age is. It also matters. In time, we become empowered to not accept situations for convenience, but become truer to ourselves. Not an easy path, but totally doable, at least for me, a woman at 41. The discussion with this guy, in all transparency, went on. He kept saying that I gave a lot of explanations just to cover for the fact that I sleep around. This person doesn't know me, so they are basing their judgment of me on what others do. Totally stupid thing to do here, but his or her issues, trust issues. Now, what I meant by, as you have seen in the comments, there's a lot of that going on. There were many comments who said that, oh, this woman's fine. A lot of people fantasize about weird, all sorts of stuff in intimacy. Other people were saying, yeah, don't worry, so is your husband. He's also thinking of somebody else while having sex with you in order to orgasm. Other people were saying, but that happens in every marriage. Other people were saying, yeah, that happens in long-term relationships. Welcome to the reality of long-term relationships. So there was a lot of that going on. And that's why I say that we normalize trauma, sleeping with somebody when you don't actually want them. Whether you've always been in that situation with the person, so from the get-go, or you eventually got to that point. The fact that you have to think of another to orgasm, and it says here not of somebody else, it says of you. So there's a specific person. Based on this situation, there could be many scenarios here. But before I get into that discussion, I'm curious, what do you think about this? Like, what do you think about what the post says? I'm not asking you to share from your personal life because I know that's really, really difficult to do. But I'm really curious, what do you think about this? How do you see it? So in order to assess this situation, you would probably have to think of a few more details here. Number one, is this frequent? Or has it always been like that? Is it just a one-time thing or on occasions, once every year or two or something like that? Or is this really frequent? Depending on all these details, you want to really start to think about, is this really a relationship I want to be in? A lot of people commented in the post also that marriage and love have nothing to do with another. Here I do agree. Initially, when marriage was set up, it was to pass down goods and to ensure that the goods remain within a certain circle of people, what we eventually learned to call family in marriage. And they are passed down through inheritances. Now, not many people nowadays have a lot of property to pass down. Okay, totally different situation. We're 8 billion people on the planet. The resources, they were never, like, probably not 2,000 years ago, where they, what's the word? Shared or divided equally among people. But nowadays, I think and I don't have statistics here, I just have common sense based on what I read in articles, sometimes what I see about average income, average estates that they have and all of that. The majority of people don't have a lot of property to pass down. So from the original reason that marriage was set up, it doesn't really make sense for many people to marry. There are other reasons why people get married, at least this is in my country. If your life partner has severe wounds or is unconscious and ends up in the emergency room, according to the law, only immediate family can decide for them. So I have people around me in my country that decided to get married based on that perspective, because maybe not everybody is really close to their family of birth, and maybe the family of birth doesn't know any better. Maybe they can't reach that person really fast, but their life partner knows better because they've known them for many years, spend a lot of time together, they're super fast there, and they can act way faster than somebody who's at I don't know how many miles away. So those are reasons to get married, sure. But you do that not because you want to pass down assets. You do that not because you want to look good in the eyes of society or you want to fit in. You do that because you actually love the person and you want to, in legal situations, you want to be able to be there according to the law. Now that's a reason to get married, if you ask me. Really, that is a reason to get married. And if you have children with the person, again, a reason to get married, because only the immediate family, according to the law, can decide for the two children. So those are reasons, in my opinion, to get married. In those situations, yes, marriage and love come together. But what happens, like this woman here, we don't know why she got married, but we know that she's in a situation where she's thinking of somebody else in order to orgasm with her husband. And it's specific somebody else because it's not just random people like models, actors, and all that. It's a you there. So what is your take on this one? Would you accept, let's say, regardless of how many years you've been married, what you share with the other person, would you accept to be in a situation where you sleep with your partner and have to think of a specific you, so a specific person, in order to orgasm with your husband or wife? How do you think? What do you feel about it? I, for one, have shared my opinion. Did I get judgment for it? Sure. We judge people. This is what society does, sadly. We do judge others. I didn't judge the woman, by the way. I said that to me, that scenario doesn't seem acceptable and I wouldn't do it. I also said that I hope she finds a way to get a better intimate life. That is partly or partially a judgment, because I imagine it's not really pretty to have to sleep with somebody but think of another because you carry somebody else in your heart. Now, what would be the alternative here? Spend time on your own and not sleep with others at all? It depends on your build or your wiring. For me, this is possible. It's not that I've changed after I started doing coaching. This was always possible for me. I've started dating when I was 20 and I realized, dude, this sucks. I told myself do that actually, but anyway. So it wasn't functioning, like it was forced. I didn't have the context in which I could really see the other person, men, because I like men. So I actually communicated, really. I was 21, I think, and I started dating a few guys, one at a time, not at the same time, okay? And I told them, look, we didn't get, like, I didn't pass one date with each of those people because it was forced. And I told them, all of them, look, I just don't feel it. It's just, I don't feel like this is the right thing for me to do. So, I started self-pleasuring very early on because I wasn't going to go into doing things just because, I don't know, society tells us that we should date, we should have a partner. Doesn't matter what we feel about him or her. So to me, this scenario is possible. I also realize I'm a woman, and I am a woman, whether conditioned by society or I don't know who, like, I don't go down that path to be intimate with people, men, that I care about. If I don't care about them, and if I'm not turned on by them, because these two ingredients have to be there, I could be either friends with the person, or if I would just want the person, but I don't really have emotions for them, that I would call, for me, that would be a toxic interaction. That's something that I've learned to understand and process on my own in time. Because I did share that I'm 41. I turned 41 this year. Does it make being single easy? No, of course not. But it's way easier than being in relationships where it's not reciprocated. I've been in a relationship when I was 20. I didn't really, like, the guy wanted me. I didn't want him that much. That didn't fly for too long. I eventually called it quits. I said, no, this is not okay. Really. And I got to that point because I was like 26 at the time, because I had been single for so many years. And I was like, maybe I'm just going about this in the wrong way. Maybe it doesn't have to start with you liking somebody or wanting somebody. Maybe it comes, down the path. That's what I thought at 26 with no other experience. So I tried it. 6 months in, I told myself, nope, this is not it either. Did I have relationships? Yes. Not many. And they didn't last long. Obviously, I didn't marry because there are many other things that matter. It's not just the initial spark with attraction and feelings. It's also long-term compatibility. So I've had other lessons down the line, and I didn't need that many. I didn't need to suffer through long-term relationships to realize when it's not functional, I need to get out of there. But I know that not many people do that. Some people call what this woman does realism, or being realistic. Like, you can't expect a long-term relationship to be rosy and pinky. And therefore, they remain there, and they also have sex in the conditions that this woman shared. Are those conditions healthy? I don't think so. Like I said in the comment, that's the very definition of sexual trauma. Whether you wanted the person at a specific point or you never wanted them, but you end up in the present moment engaging with somebody that you don't want, and you have to think of another, that is the very, very definition of sexual trauma. It doesn't have to be done always by force. Sexual trauma can also be done with your accord, because you have this kind of mentality that says that, I need to be in a relationship, so I don't care if I like the person or not. I'll just think of somebody else. But I'm subjecting my body to being sexually active with somebody that I don't want. When the nickel falls for this person, because eventually it will, she won't be able to carry that one on for too long. She'll end up in therapy. I hope the nickel falls for her faster or sooner than later. Because the more time you spend in that kind of dynamic, essentially you're lying to yourself also, not just your husband. You're lying to yourself in a way, and it's to your detriment. This is really delicate, and it needs to be addressed in therapy, if you ask me. But until the nickel falls for her, she's going to continue to do that. Is it fair for her husband? Well, we don't know, actually. We don't have information about her husband. Does he have a clue here? Does he do the same thing? We don't know that either. We can only assume it's not fair toward him, but in actuality, he would have to know about it, and then, or we would have to ask him, hey, what would you say about this? And get his opinion also. But it's not, if you ask me, this is not a really healthy relationship, and it's not truly love. Not love for yourself, because you're doing something with somebody that you don't want to do it with, and there is somebody else that you would want to do it with. And it's not loving, or it's not a sign of love for the other person. Because in this time, you're keeping the both of you from interacting with people that you actually want. Totally delicate, right? And in my opinion, you can sleep around with whoever you want if that's your thing. I don't do that for myself. So, for instance, if this woman didn't want her husband, but she wanted so many other people, I wouldn't have a problem with, I actually don't have a problem with any of it. I just told that I wouldn't do it But it wouldn't be a problem from my perspective that she would go around and sleep with other people. It's her body, you know, it's her life. She wouldn't be lying to anybody. That's the thing that I have a problem with. Lying to yourself, putting yourself in situations that you don't want, lying to another, like your intimate partner, or in this case, her husband, and being intimate with them when you don't want to be intimate. There's a lot of, like the guy that actually told me, oh, but you think it's okay for others, you don't do it, but it's okay for others to sleep around. Dude, it's okay for everybody to do whatever they want. I didn't even judge this woman. Like, I didn't tell her, oh, she should stop. No, I said it would be unacceptable to me, and I hope she finds a better way to have her intimacy. Because common sense says, if you think of another, if you desire another, but you're spending your intimate sexual time with somebody else, again, definition of trauma. Really, really nasty. So I would love to know what you think about this. This is totally loaded with a lot of judgment, a lot of sick definitions here. And a lot of people seem to have a problem with what? With others sleeping around. Again, I don't have a problem with other people not sleeping around. I don't have another problem or a problem with other people do sleeping around. I have a problem, essentially, with when people lie to themselves, because I already know that's the basic definition of trauma. Totally. Secondly, I do have a problem when people lie to their intimate partners. It's your intimate partner. Dude, if you don't trust them, I'll give you a really constructive story here. I have a woman in my close circle. She used to be in the community. Now she no longer practices. She's in an intimate relationship with somebody that she loves, and the man loves her back. In one of the moments when they were not together, he was on a trip. She met up just to socialize, nothing more, with a former beloved of hers. Former. She no longer loves the guy. She's no longer intimate with the guy. She's intimate with the one that she loves. And she told her beloved, her current beloved, she told him, look, I met up and I had dinner with whatever it was, lunch, I don't know. They met up and they had something to eat with somebody that she used to be with in the past. The guy got really defensive and she told him, but nothing happened. I don't care about him in that way. He's somebody from my past. He's somebody that I can talk to. I don't feel the need to do absolutely anything with him. And I tell you because I wanted you to know. She tells her partner all the stuff that she does, not just the fact that she had dinner with this guy. And she told him because there's no problem. There's nothing to cover there, you know? And a lot of my friends, you know, when I praised her, they said, oh, but you have a problem with injustice. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. I appreciate it. She's in an intimate relationship. She loves her partner, her beloved, her man, enough to tell him everything, including the delicate stuff. I said, that's courage and that's genuine love. You don't have to go behind somebody's back. Of course, I'm going to appreciate that. And I've had other examples in my life where, in this case, another positive example that I have is of a man married. He had 2 kids at the time. This was several years back. And at a certain point in his life, everyday life, he encountered a woman that was amazing in his eyes. And he really felt desire for that woman. Do you know what that guy did? 1, he did not act in the sense of that desire. 2, he went to his wife and told her, look, here's a woman. I feel this towards her. I sat down and I started to think about why I felt this for this woman. And then he told his wife why he thought he liked that woman, why he was so attracted to her. You know what the wife did? Because it was not easy to hear, obviously, married with 2 children. She sat down, took some time on her own, and then she started working on her femininity. That is courage on both of those people's parts. The guy didn't go around or behind the wife's back and cheat on her. The woman didn't dump him because she appreciated the courage. That's true courage in an intimate relationship. That's something that I think a lot of us should try to do if we really, like, Those people married consciously, and they're working for the relationship. I'm not saying that at a certain point while you're married, other people can come along and you can find them even more attractive. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying what you do in those moments, how you work around it, as opposed to staying in a lie to yourself, to your partner, is what matters. Okay, the courage to be authentic and true. Some people might decide to break up. Others might decide to come clean, like tell their partners, here's what I'm thinking, here's what I'm feeling. Let's work around this. I wished there were more people that did the latter in relationships. Like they confessed stuff that there are inside their mind that are seem to not be honest, and then they have the courage to work around them. Or if they feel that there's nothing to work around, they feel there's nothing to work for in the relationship, that they have the courage to separate and each go on their own paths and maybe allow themselves the chances of finding other people that they have better, intimate, and loving relationships with. Totally difficult and challenging life situations. But, these are the examples that I have. I wished, like when I do lives, not many people enter in live, so I wished I actually had a conversation with you guys and actually could read your comments and have a conversation with you and see what you think, how you feel, how you relate to this. Sadly, I can't do that. So, because even when I go live, there are just one person or two people, and they don't comment. It's like I'm talking to myself anyway. So I'd rather record and edit out all my goofy moments and then just put out the product and hopefully engage with you in the comment section. I really love to know what you think about this. Okay, what is your take here? Do you think it's acceptable or healthy to be in an intimate relationship with somebody that you don't want and think of another in order to really have orgasm in a relationship or to be intimate with the person? Or come clean, see if there's anything to work on in the first place, or separate and give each other the chance to meet other partners? Really, I would love to know. Okay, I'm gonna look forward to your comments. I hope I get them. Really, I hope this will be a conversation. Otherwise, I'm gonna, what can I do here? Yeah, I can link them below and you can read the original posts and see what other people have commented. And you can also see my comment there. Yeah, I look forward to your answers and I'll see you with other videos. Bye.